superpower in the world that is attainable for you is the ability to influence people.
The place and time.
Let's get to some of these fine folks. So yeah, Nita, who's here. Thank you guys for being here today. My name is Sean Callaghy. Thank you, Nita. We'll explain a little bit more in a few. So yeah, let's give everybody an opportunity. Let's say 30 seconds, your name, where you're from, and like one sentence of what you do. And of course you could have a choice. You could say, hey, I'm a federal criminal defense attorney from such and such and such and such, or you could share why you're that and what you stand for in the world. But let's keep it to like one elongated compound sentence, and then a fun fact, like, oh, and I love to battle like fiercely in the courtroom, and I love to bake cupcakes at night, as a fun fact we might not expect. So Nita, yeah, let's drop in.
Yes, thank you. So Anita, we'd love to start with you. Please share.
Okay, sure.
Thank you for coming.
Of course, thank you. My name is Anita Shavastva. I live in New Jersey. I'm at Merrill Lynch Wealth Management. I'm very active in my community. I'm the Women's Club president at Ridgewood Women's Club. And the one fun fact about me is I really enjoy playing team sports like softball, tennis, and all kinds of stuff. And I have a really bad case of osteoarthritis.
All right. Well, love the fact that you love your athletics. And Anita, are you from Ridgewood?
Yes, I've been in this town for 16 years. New York City before that, DC, and then grew up in my early childhood in India.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you for being here today. Quick fun fact, my aunt, Barbara Comerford, my mom's sister and my godmother, lives in Ridgewood, and one can make an argument that she's as good a disability attorney as anybody in New Jersey and the country. She's done a lot of remarkable work with the NFL and others. So a Ridgewood Maroon is my aunt.
Yeah.
You. So,
could you repeat that name again, just so that I can look her up?
Yeah. Barbara Comerford, Comerford. She runs commercials at times, and she talks about her father having been blind, and he's blind that's my grandfather, having been blind from the same eye condition that I suffer from. But she's lives on Ridgewood Avenue, right near the high school.
Oh, cool. Very good. Thanks for the connection.
Yeah, absolutely. So welcome, Anita. Nita, from Anita to Nita.
Yes. So we'll go with Diana. Diana is coming all the way from overseas, across the pond, but south. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. My name is Diana Lammertz, and I'm helping entrepreneurs to grow their business by getting their message in front and heard by the right people. My why is to simply give people a voice and make their dreams come true. My background is being a radio news host for 13 years. I love to merge ecosystems, and fun fact, ich spreche fließend Deutsch, and I'm a chocoholic. I just love chocolate.
Beautiful. Well, welcome, Diana. And where are you coming from today, Diana?
North Rhine-Westphalia, Germany. It's a town called Essen.
Oh, well, beautiful. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Diana. Nita.
Yes. And Stephen, let's share about yourself, please.
Good afternoon. I'm Stephen Ingram from Red Bank, New Jersey. With International Planning Alliance, I do life insurance with business owners and help them protect against the other person passing away and what happens to their business in that event, protecting their family and their largest assets. Fun fact about myself is I'm an endurance athlete. So I run a lot of Spartan races, and I've run the New York City Marathon the last 2 years.
Cool.
Awesome. Congratulations, Stephen,
Yes.
man, and welcome. So you live in Red Bank or offices in Red Bank? Or both?
Both. Yes to both.
The home of Bon Jovi, right? Or no?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. All right. Well, Stephen, welcome. Living on a prayer, brother. Nita.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Sean is a Springsteen fan, a big Springsteen fan. So he had to compare with Bon Jovi, I guess, at the same
Yeah.
time.
I get very upset when people talk about New Jersey's top musician being Bon Jovi. Although I do love Bon Jovi, I get a little bit. So yeah, back to you.
Stephen, I actually work with the lawyer that does Clarence Clemens' estate. It handles his entire estate.
Oh, nice.
Who's that?
Sorry, Dr. David Kunick.
Hey, doctor, how are you? That's
Good. Yeah, I wasn't trying to jump in. I just figured you guys talk about Springsteen and this and that. So
you can jump in. I mean, that's what we're here to do. Clarence, I think it's like page like 375 or 475, I think, is where Bruce Springsteen starts talking about in his book Born to Run, Clarence Clemens passing away and the impact that had on everybody. So thank you for sharing that. That's amazing. All right, Nita.
And since we're talking about
so
Bruce,
David, you might as well go.
I'm so sorry to jump.
Tell us about yourself. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Anita.
Oh, no, just since we were talking about Bruce and you're such a fan, Sean, my daughter attends Boston College. They had him at the convocation and he talked about his book, Born to Run, and his kids go to BC, and it was one of the best virtual events I went to. So it was great.
Well, thank you for sharing. And since we're like this deep in, we'll keep going. So I've seen Bruce over 80 times.
Sorry.
80.
Oh.
I saw Bruce on Broadway 4 times. And I had the unique privilege. The last night I saw him was about 3 days before my son Tyler was heading off to college, just a couple years back. And he's a huge Bruce fan. He saw Bruce with me for the first time when he was 8 years old. My dad is a huge Bruce fan, and we've seen Bruce together about 8 times. My son and my dad and I, 3 generations. My daughters are huge Bruce fans. My daughter Emma wanted vinyl records for her birthday of every Bruce album imaginable to play on a record player, like vintage style. So with that backdrop, family-wise, and footnote, my stepmother was an administrative assistant at CBS Records right before Born to Run came out, the album back in 1973, 4, and 5. But after Bruce had been signed and done his first 2 albums. So we're at this show, and I have tears coming down my face throughout the show as Bruce is reflecting upon family and legacy and the future. And my son is very emotional as well. And we're sitting right in front of him. And as the show progresses, he says a couple of things that I'm like, Nita knows what I mean by this. In my level 5 listening, I'm like, I honestly think he's talking to us. But I guess that's what everybody thinks, that he's always talking to you. That's why he's so magical and incredible. So sitting there but I was like really transfixed with the whole experience. So the show ends and I had seen it twice before at that point, 2 or 3 times before. And he had not shaken hands with people in the front row previously. So he starts shaking hands about 2 people to our left. And my son, Tyler, I'm blind. He starts like raising my hand and Bruce shakes my hand and it was extraordinary. And I was so thankful and grateful. And then he grabs my son Tyler's hand and they shake hands. He like holds his hand and he goes like this, 1 minute. He goes 1 minute. He turns and everybody's mobbing, trying to grab him, reaching up, want to, get a handshake. And he goes, walks towards the back area. I'm like, I don't know what he's doing. He comes back up. He reaches like past people and through people and puts in my son Tyler's hand, his guitar pick from the show. Ooh. And so in that moment, I knew he was everything as a human being, right? Nobody's perfect and we don't agree on everything, right? But I knew in that moment that this man's heart was remarkable because nobody was watching. Nobody could have known what was occurring, but he did. And it was incredible. And he knew something important was happening, not what, from the emotional state we're in the entire night. And he wanted to give that acknowledgement. And my son, Tyler, who always thinks I'm crazy when I say things like that, he came out and said, I cannot believe all that happened tonight. So Nita, that's my my quick Bruce
story. Incredible.
Yeah.
Okay. So Dr. David, why don't we have you go since you joined in?
Sure, Dr. David Kunick, doctor of physical therapy, second doctor of healthcare management. In reality, serial entrepreneur, very blessed to have started 13 companies in 17 years and successfully sold 7 of them. I've been very heavily involved in the medical cannabis space for the last decade. And fun little fact is I've been able to go snowboarding and surfing on the same exact day while not being in the state of California, actually in the state of Maine.
Super
Love to
awesome.
surf, and life is all about networking and paying it forward. I will be the first one to admit when I do lectures, people ask, what's the key to success? I say it's relationships and network building. It's all about paying it forward. Big believer in pigs eat and hogs get slaughtered.
No, Dr. David, you are in the right space, my friend. So we're having a lot of fun. Nita, this is an incredible group of people. Forgive me for this moment, but I will share.
David, magic words. He said surfing and Sean, you're
It's El
frozen.
Coronado in San Diego, and that is the break on Coronado Beach. I was fortunate to be out there a little bit earlier today on a brief break. And so, Dr. David, where is your favorite place to surf, sir?
You're frozen, Sean. So I'm not seeing
Yeah.
what you're seeing right now. You're
Oh,
frozen
there.
there. So, but I'll take it. Actually, people laugh, but a small place called Fortune's Rocks Beach up in Biddeford, Maine. You'll never see more than 20 surfers out there. Oh, thank you. Thanks for the jealousy now, Sean. Appreciate that.
Wow.
Sharing the energy. So that's Coronado Beach in San Diego. So, which I was out earlier surfing, and surfed 4 days this week, thankfully for a little bit. So I heard you about Maine. Welcome, congratulations. And Dr. David, where do you live?
I split time between Vegas, Portland, Maine, and Morristown, New Jersey.
Amazing. Well, if you're ever in New Jersey and want to come surf, have you ever surfed Long Beach Island?
I have, but only a handful of times.
Sean, you're frozen again.
Can you hear me, Nita?
Yeah, I can hear you, but you're frozen. We heard you saying, can you hear me?
Okay. Can you hear me now? Or all good?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I was saying to Dr. David, have you ever surfed in Long Beach Island, New Jersey?
I have a handful of times. To be very frank, I'm not the biggest fan of surfing in Jersey. I find the water a little dirty for me.
Well, I got to represent for a second. The water in New Jersey, under some of the more recent EPA standards, actually blows away California's waters and Florida's. At least my understanding is from Dr. Beach at Florida International University, because I'm a big fan of LBI. So I could be incorrect. I will have to fact check that. But the last that I checked, the New Jersey waters nationally were doing quite well.
Sean, I haven't surfed in New Jersey probably in at least 3 or 4 years. So
Gotcha.
the last couple of times, seeing a couple of needles on the beach, seeing floating bottles.
Where were you?
Yeah, over in LBI. So I mean that's also too after a bad storm. Just in general, like I've been very blessed to have going down in Cabo and Cabo San Lucas. Also Narragansett, Rhode Island. Up in Maine, like where the water's been very, very clean. So I've been very spoiled as well too. So I will say that.
No, I've had the privilege of traveling all over the world. Nita, you were just in LBI. How would you?
Yeah, I'm waiting to tell. I'm waiting to vouch for you for the
ahead.
water. Yeah. So Dr. David, about 4 weeks ago, Sean had us all come down to his LBI house, and we had an incredible gathering, about 60 of us. And one of the highlights was it was a late night. There were bonfires in the backyard of the house, and then it was close to midnight. We all ran into the water, and incredibly, it was about 60 degrees outside, but the water felt like 75 because in that over there in that part of the town, I guess, or wherever, all of New Jersey, maybe. If you are, the water temperature is higher than the outside temperature and vice versa. So it was an incredible moment. I think like we all held hands, four of us at a time, and the current was so strong and the waves were so strong. I felt like I was getting knocked over and knocked over again. It was all in a minute, less than a minute. It was incredible experience. So that was thanks to Sean.
Thank you guys. And Dr. David, thank you for being here. Love your passions and enthusiasms. So awesome to have you here today. Yep. Nita.
Okay, super. So Mark?
Yeah, I'm Mark
I hope
Daffer.
we're holding your interest.
Sorry, I'm trying to do 50 different things at the same time. I'm Mark Daffner. I've been a criminal defense lawyer here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for the last 27 years. I've actually tried some cases that have gained national prominence. I have the first instance where self-defense was used successfully in a cop killing a couple of years ago. I have consistently selected among the top 100 criminal trial lawyers in the U.S. And fun fact about me is 35 years and 40 pounds ago, I was a professional hockey player.
No way. Who'd you play for, Mark?
Rochester Amherst.
Well, congratulations on that. And
Thanks.
love hearing the stories. Help me again with the criminal defense, the self-defense issue. One more time on that. I heard it, but I want to make sure I have it. So
There was a case called Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus Ray Shetler. And long story short, my client shot a police officer with a deer rifle in his front yard 3 times and killed him. It was a self-defense issue. The officer was there for a nonviolent domestic, and things got out of control. And that was a not guilty verdict. That's the first time in U.S. history self-defense has ever been used successfully in a cop killing. Fourth time anybody's ever walked away from a cop killing.
Wow. Well,
I mean, you see these cop killings, how often do you see the defendants going free?
Yeah.
Not very often, right?
Not very often. So I think it would be a wonderful segue briefly into what the heck is this and what are we doing here? So clearly, Mark, you have the superpower of influence. I have an odd suspicion that so does Dr. David and other fine folks that are here today. And I believe and discovered about 23 years ago that reality. I was a Columbia University undergraduate. I was captain of my college baseball team there, hoped to go on to play professionally. Was told I was getting drafted. I was a 4-year starter. And my eye condition, which is retinitis pigmentosa, caused my grandfather's blindness and was in the process of causing mine. And it just began to affect me. So baseball was done. I went to law school, graduated with honors, came out. And you know what, Mark, Dr. David, everybody, Nita, they forgot to put on the brochure that influence and understanding what to do with it and the creation of business and business relationships had some relevance to your money, your time freedom, and the magic and impact you can create in your life. And so this is a very inconvenient truth for me because I couldn't stand salespeople. I couldn't stand marketing. And if that was going to be something that was a part of the law and what you would do, I wanted out immediately. And I was ready to quit my quote unquote dream job, which was clearly not a dream at one of New Jersey's most prestigious firms. And so 6 months out, I created my own law firm on my credit card. 2 years later, I built a 40-person law firm. I have not heard before or since, maybe Mark knows somebody, I don't know, that starting on the credit card, 2 years out of law school, built a 40-person law firm with no equity partners and no investment capital.
I did about the same as you.
Yeah, is that right?
I took $400, opened a small office in the worst area of town, and it just blew from there.
Yeah, brother. Well,
before the era of cell phones or the internet or social media or any of that stuff.
Same here, brother. So I'd love to talk more. I love hearing that. So I went on, Mark. I was one of only 2 attorneys in the country to be in the top 100 national jury verdicts twice between 2014 and 16. It was myself and a gentleman from California. And again, I was the only one that was blind. I was fully blind at that point, or at least legally blind at that point. Couldn't see anything in front of me. Can't see any of your faces here. I have a 125-person law firm at this point, Callagy Law, but I also have this company, Unblinded. And we train on the superpower of influence and what to do with it for business acceleration, leadership, marketing, and sales. And I've had the unique privilege of speaking on Tony. I don't have any business relationship with Tony Robbins, looking on a stage in 7 of the last 8 events, not for money or the sale of any product or program, but in support of some of the things he's taught me in my life. And I still attend many of his events and run our own stuff. This Real Raw, we created this during COVID when live events were closed down, and we had a 1,500-person event in the Meadowlands in January, and said, how are we going to keep people connecting? And what do we do experientially so people like Mark, like Dr. David, like Anita, like all of you can demonstrate your powers of influence and who and what you are? How do we create credence? Credence is a concept in marketing, which says, how do you explain the unexplainable? So like, here's Mark, here's Dr. David, physical therapy practice, Anita, right? Nita, all of us. How do we assess who and what people are? We could try to explain why Mark was able to create the miraculous feat of being one only 4 people to do what he did. But even when you say that, it's different than experiencing him. And when you begin to experience him, you could feel his congruence, his certainty, his resonance, his Zeus energy. There's a language and a science around it that we've created, and that's what we're here to do together. So thank you guys for being here very much today. And we gamified it. So there's judges and assessment, and people get feedback. And this is the 235th Real Raw that we've done since COVID began. And Nita, I thank you so much for doing this and having this awesome group of people here today. So thank you, and back to you.
Thank you, Sean. Okay, so we have two judges, Richard from Peru, and Richard knows how much Unblinded has changed me. I'm a different person, a little wild. No.
Yes.
Richard, go ahead.
Hey, Richard.
Hi, Sean. How are you? Yeah, thank you for inviting me today. And Nita, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, because I'm 3,000 miles away. Okay, you want my background quickly?
Yeah, quick 30 seconds or fun and a fun fact. Yeah.
Fine. Well, I went in the Marine Corps as a combat Marine at 17, and I survived that, but I spent about half a year in the hospital paying for that decision. And then after that, I chose the southernmost point to play tennis, which I did at 2 universities in Miami. And upon graduation, I decided to follow the sun for 10 years, coaching tennis in North and South, and from Palm Beach to Cape Cod and so forth. And then when the shoulders started getting bad, I figured I had to get a different type of work. So I had decades in sales experience, and then repping, and then having my own companies, including different multi-level ones and so forth. Anyway, I've been sequestered in Peru for about 7 months right now because the borders and the airports have been closed. But in Peru, I've been here about 6 times, and I've done different things, from working with orphans to rescue missions of Americans stranded to helping the Venezuelan refugees. So that brings me to the meeting today.
Richard, thank you so much for being here. All hail Machu Picchu. I had the privilege to be up there.
Yes?
Yeah, so awesome, brother.
Awesome, isn't it?
World. Mind-blowing, yes. So,
it's like living in a postcard, I say.
It is. So
yeah.
Nita. Yes, so I'm waiting for Richard to come back, because apparently he was coming back. He goes February, comes back June, in time for my birthday. And apparently there's a birthday present. I've seen some pictures, haven't gotten my hands around it. I believe gloves and things. The winter's coming, we need it, but I'm going to get it in the spring next year, I think, because he can't come back till then.
I can always mail it by FedEx. Incidentally, I voted the other day. They wanted $68 for FedEx to mail a vote back. But with some of your technique, Sean, I was able to work around that and pay nothing.
Well, thank you. Richard, that is hysterical. Nita.
Okay, Tatiana, last but not least, judge, judging us today.
Hey, Tatiana, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Great. So what's cooking? Who are you?
Who am I? I'm Tatiana. I live in Maryland, and I own Financial One Wealth Management Group. I specialize in preventing successful entrepreneurs and retirees from paying unnecessary income tax on capital gains, estate, and legacy, to make sure that their hard-earned dollars go to their families and loved ones versus Uncle Sam.
And how about a fun fact, Tatiana?
A fun fact is I speak fluent Russian because I was born there, and I have 3 teenagers.
Boom. Awesome job. Well, welcome, Tatiana. Nita, what's your fun fact?
My fun fact.
And by the way, who are you?
I brought this So thank you, Sean. I am an immigration lawyer. I'm an immigrant myself. I was born in Sri Lanka. I'm of Indian origin. I came here. I came to the United States with an 10th grade education, and 18 years later, I got my GED and went to college. Graduated at the top of the class, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude, and then I went to law school. And here I am practicing immigration law and helping keep our wonderful boiling pot, what's it called?
Melting pot.
Melting pot alive. Yes.
Yeah. And a fun fact.
I'm not able to play Scrabble that much at night anymore because I have to get up in the morning to listen to you, Sean.
All right.
Sean has a call. We have a call every morning at 8 o'clock, and then 8:30, Sean has a very interesting call. So we listen in and get a lot of energy for the day and motivation and meet some incredible people.
So thank you. So, and quick fun fact about me, I am blind. I'm actually on the board of the American Foundation for the Blind. We're looking to change the unemployment rate for blind people in America, which has been at 75% for the past 6 decades, even though there's been extraordinary regulatory, legal change, as well as technological advances. And I believe that's rooted in the empowerment of blind people and having them own and understand themselves, being blind, having watched the life of my incredibly wonderful and remarkable grandfather and all he went through. So that's a issue near and dear to my heart, and for fun, and to disrupt that pattern of the perception of the blind, as many hold. I'm a blind guy that taught a blind guy to surf a month ago. I taught that same blind guy how to win carnival games at Fantasy Island in Long Beach Island. And thanks to Tony Robbins, I'm in his Inner Circle Lions group. I jumped out of an airplane as a blind dude, not having any idea waking up that morning that I'd be jumping out of an airplane. So that's my fun fact for today. And yes, Nita, let's rock and roll and get into it. So who's going to go first? I think somebody has a time integrity challenge.
Yeah. Should we start with you, Mark?
Sure.
And
I don't know what I'm
yeah,
supposed
so
to do.
Yep. So Mark,
okay.
You want me to go, Nita, or you want to? It's up to you.
Yeah, please.
Yep. Okay. So
no,
Mark,
no, go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, all we're doing here is the fun of the Real Raw is we're going from hello to yes. And after yes is how everything begins. So the jury had to say yes, obviously, to your client to say not guilty. They were saying yes to you as they said not guilty. Clearly, you're a genius at going from hello to yes. That's why you're rated in the top 100 so consistently. Congratulations again. Remarkable achievement. And you also have to have clients say yes to you when they're hearing and experiencing other criminal defense lawyers and they're scared and they're crazed. And you need other places that you speak and you present, and all of those things begin after yes. People that came and worked and built your law firm with you, right? And worked for you. So everything is about yes, but with integrity and heart and authenticity. And that's the space of the railroad. Not like Boiler Room meets Wolf of Wall Street, yes. And in fact, we had one of those fine folks on the other day that worked with Jordan Belfort. That was an interesting day. But it's like heart-centered integrity yes in 3 minutes. And so we're super clear that the yes we're seeking doesn't have to be yes to become a client. It does not have to be yes to buy something. It could be any yes we're seeking in the world, including just a yes to a longer meet, since we only have 3 minutes. So you might meet somebody who's a great book publisher, and you might have 3 minutes that you bumped into them in an event to have them say, yeah, you know, I would love to meet with you for a longer conversation. So Nita, Mark, and everybody will be anybody you want in the world. Could be Oprah Winfrey. Say, Oprah, I should be on your show in 3 minutes, or an ideal client, or a judge, or anything that you'd want. So Mark, who would you like Nita to be?
I think Nita looks like a large-scale Colombian drug dealer to me. Having not met her before, I can tell it's obviously a shell corporation running this immigration practice. You know, that's a front for money laundering. And look how she's laughing. That's probably closer to the truth, isn't it?
So I love Mark.
I think Nita needs to convince me to have her as a client, not me convince her. The clients walk into my office knowing who I am, and that's the real thing with my practice. Is it's more like, you know, the client's trying to convince me to take them as clients, not me trying to convince them to say yes.
I love it. So Mark, just for the edification of all, Mark just dropped in with we talk about the 4 energies of influence. He carries absolute certainty. We call it Zeus energy. And then he dropped in with the first, which is fun energy. So fun in combination with Zeus disrupts. And there's, of course, goddess and aspirational. We'll talk about that later. Amazing. And then he has scarcity, integrous scarcity. People have to convince me because I'm, you know, with respect and humility, but factually, I'm the man. And so people have to convince me. And it didn't come across as off-putting. It was congruent, which means his words, his vocal qualities, and body language were aligned. And then he had integrous scarcity to say, listen, I'm very interested, but yeah, I'm really busy and I'm in incredibly high demand. So yeah, let's talk and see what it would look like for me to decide to work with you. Integrous scarcity. So we have a formula and a mechanism to assess these types of things. Mark, you're a straight up genius, no doubt, obviously. So Nita, you're a Colombian drug dealer. Yesterday, we had the unique privilege of having the president of the Orange County Bar Association on. along with some other lawyers from the West Coast. And it was another interesting day of the role players being nothing but criminal after criminal. So I'm enjoying the criminal defense presence on the Real Raw. Nita, you're a straight up drug dealer. You got 3 minutes to work with this man and say hello. So let's go.
Okay, so
just say hello.
Hi, Mr. Daphner. I want to talk to you about something important.
Sure, what's up?
Well, you know, I was driving in my car. We had the stash of money, and we were pulled over because of a broken taillight. And
No, you weren't.
the cops, you know, kind of took us all in. Me, my friend, my two friends, Jose and Linda. So I wanted to talk to you about that.
Okay, they took you in and they did what? Charged with a broken taillight, or are you actually under indictment?
I don't know what's happening right now. I have no
you're out
clue,
of
but
jail,
we were
so
taken. Yeah.
Safe to say that
Yeah,
this is
I had somebody helped us.
They find anything else in the
Pardon?
car?
They found the money.
Okay. You realize it's not illegal to have money, right? How much money are we talking?
Yeah, well, you can help tell the judge that and the prosecutor that.
Did they seize the money? Because right now you're not telling me anything. You're telling me you were stopped for a broken taillight. They found some money. They might have taken the money, and you're not charged.
I'm afraid to talk about this. Can I come and see you in the office?
Not a problem. Give me actually call my assistant Tracy. She will set you up with an appointment.
So are you taking cases right now?
I'm going to assume that you have more money than the money that was taken. Otherwise, it's not really much.
We can talk about that.
Hey, Nita, I just had a wire come through from the office here that said that you were just charged with racketeering, money laundering, and actually running a drug cartel in Colombia.
So well, there we go.
Oh my goodness. I didn't know. I didn't do anything.
Okay, well, you probably also don't know that under federal criminal law, you could be facing a life sentence. You know that? It's the only system where you can actually get life for not killing somebody.
But you're the best, right? You can get me
off,
I'm the best.
That's why you called me.
Yeah. So I'm in good hands, right?
Of course, but not yet. You need to actually come in, make an appointment. We'll go over things. I'll look up the indictment, and we can go from there.
Okay.
Sound
when
good?
When can I come in?
Sound like a plan?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, well, I will put you on with Tracy. She will make an appointment, and we'll see you then.
Hey, Nita, why don't you just give me a little support here?
Nita is not a very good Colombian drug dealer, by the way.
No. So, Nita,
complete role reversal.
I would ask, just a little bit more about Mark and how you're in the right hands.
So Mark, how long have you been a criminal lawyer?
I've been doing this for almost 30 years.
And can you tell me about the cases?
Well, let me put it this way. I've tried a hell of a lot worse cases than you have before. Okay. And the trick is the feds don't like to go to trial. Statistically, 98% of federal cases will plead guilty, and 99% of cases that actually go to trial will result in a guilty verdict. They don't like to go to trial, but they're notoriously good at their job. Okay, I've gotten plenty of people not guilty verdicts in federal trials over the years. It's not impossible. It's not nearly as impossible as the U.S. attorney is going to make it seem. Okay, so I'm very experienced in this kind of work. A lot's going to depend on the co-defendants. A lot's going to depend on the U.S. attorney to decide your case. We do need to get in and discuss this.
Can you tell me about other cases where you've had to go to trial and the client has
I'm sure
not had to go to jail?
You wouldn't be calling me, so you know about those cases. But just
I wanted to hear it from you.
A case like a case in federal court recently that I had, my client had, he was caught with 20 kilos of cocaine, along with 27 firearms inside a gun safe with about 50 grand in cash. Gun safe was in the bedroom in his house. And the U.S. attorney was offering nothing that we could live with. These are heavy mandatory cases. And we went to trial and we got a not guilty.
Wow.
In your case, you got a bunch of issues like the validity of the traffic stop to begin with, chain of custody on the contraband, whether they can tie any of the money to you whether your co-defendants are going to rat you out, whether you're actually a kingpin, and also you need to let me know your prior criminal history. What kind of criminal case?
I don't want to talk on the phone. We'll talk.
Oh, good
in
idea,
here
because they're
after.
probably tapping you right now. So make it a point with
Right.
Tracy and come in. I'll see you there.
Mark,
Okay.
Mark, that was awesome.
I do this every day, Sean. I mean, it's my job.
Awesome. Nita, a lot of Zeus energy, a lot of certainty there. Let's see what are, and you definitely have a little bit of brushing up on your Colombian drug dealerness. So I'm glad to know that you're actually not a Colombian drug dealer, Nita. That makes me feel much more comfortable. Tatiana, are you a Colombian drug dealer? And if not, would you mind giving some feedback to Mark for 30 seconds or so? What worked, what you thought might be optimized?
Sure. So I thought that Mark is very confident, obviously, in what he does, and he has a lot of Zeus. And the thing is, this was a little bit of an interesting case because Nita couldn't say a lot. And she already called looking for him. She said, "You're the best, I need you." So he didn't really have to sell himself to her. It would have been maybe a little better for role play if she was interviewing him as one of 2 or 3 choices and gave him a little bit of a harder time where he'd have to sell his services.
Well, maybe we could have Mark come back in the future if he would be honest with that. And
I
maybe,
get that all the time too.
yeah, and maybe in the future, Mark could have like a super pivotal issue that we could watch his style of influence with a court or judge, because I'm super impressed. And
Yes,
this is
yes,
awesome.
yes. No, he's definitely very good.
Yeah, it's great. So thank you, Tatiana. And you want to throw a score out there?
A score on Mark, I'll
Yes.
probably be, I'd say 8.5.
Tatiana's a tough one. Richard.
Only an 8.5.
That Mark's
I
definitely
don't
coming
remember
back.
your name. I'm getting to meet some real Colombian drug. I'm just kidding.
I love it. So Richard, what do you have, sir? Coming from Peru.
All right. Well,
Wait,
Mark,
excuse me, Richard, what is it that you're doing in Peru? And how
I-
long have you
I'm
been in
being-
Peru?
I've been on
How you make income in Peru? No, I'm kidding, guys.
I've been
So what was the score? Yeah.
I've been sequestered here since I arrived in March because of the COVID.
Yeah, I'm just teasing. We're having a little bit of
Oh, okay.
framing you as
Oh,
a
I see. Oh, because of the narco thing, right? From Ayacucho with the shining path.
Well,
Which
how do
I'm
you know
sure
that? That's an interesting
Mark-
thing, you know. No, so what do you have for Mark?
because I have a friend from there, and there used to be left terrorists here and blow up places where I walk by during the day sometime. But it's embryonic now, and they're just in the mountains, hidden with the drug, mostly doing drug trafficking. Another part of Peru.
You have a lot of knowledge of these things, Mark, but how about a score? I mean, Richard, I'm sorry. So how about a score, Richard?
Well, even more than that, Mark, you familiar with El Señor de los Cielos?
Slightly.
Yeah, well, all of you may enjoy it. It's a great novella that depicts a lot of this. So I'm very familiar with who goes into jail and who doesn't, and the attorneys and everything with it. So I would
I've
say
never
as
had a
far-
Peruvian cartel before. I've had Dominican and Colombian. We got one coming up from Jamaica.
Yeah. Well, Richard,
a lot of
Richard might be a great source of business for you, Mark. We could start doing seminars down in Machu Picchu.
That's right.
A side stand. No, Richard.
It would
So,
be a little difficult to get admitted to the Peruvian bar.
Yeah.
So
a lot of this happens in Colombia and Mexico and the relationship with the cartels. But anyway, back to Mark.
Yes.
I would give you a 10. I mean, you were very convincing. You can tell you've done this for decades. You have command. You've got a strong voice. You come out with facts. You come out with an example. You drop federal. It's not local. You've got the time in and doing it. And that's what I would say.
Awesome. And before Mark has to jump, let me share this with you. So when I came out of law school, one of the things that was remarkable to me was the unbelievable disparity of lawyers in terms of their skill set. So yes, Mark has decades of experience, but I would say my belief though would be those decades of experience would represent less than 20% of why he is as amazing as he is. Because there's loads of people who've been practicing 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years that don't have a fraction of the accomplishments and the skill set that that man does. And that is a lifetime of intentionality and mastery around his communication influencing skill set. So Mark, it was a pleasure to
Thanks.
watch Influence as a Superpower on display. Great job, sir.
Yeah, it almost makes you want to commit a crime. He's so good.
I don't know about
No,
that.
Richard, yeah, feel free, just do it on US soil if you could.
Mark, one of my business mentors used to tell me the point of a lawyer is to interpret the law the way you want to interpret it. I pay my retainer bill every month for my 3 different lawyers. Love them. I always on speed dial.
Only if it's pro bono.
Awesome. All right, Nita. So thank you, Mark. Who's next?
Yes. So let's go with Anita. She's also may have to leave us. So
Anita,
you're on
who would you like Anita to be?
in the hot seat.
Perhaps not a criminal.
You're muted. Anita, you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Who would
Yes.
you like
All right.
Anita to be? Anita, yeah.
Okay, so let's go with Stephen over there, Stephen Ingram.
Actually, you're gonna role play with me.
Yeah, who do you want?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay.
No.
So role play with you, and what am I doing again? So basically,
You're going from hello to yes. And so
Okay.
what's a yes that matters to you in the world? Could be a client, it could be a strategic partnership, it could be a book deal, anything. A charitable raise.
Yeah.
Yeah, what would it be?
yes. So yeah, right now, I think charitable raise would be good. One of the organizations for which I'm the president, it was a tough year with COVID. We couldn't host fundraise. We couldn't rent the facilities, and it's been in business since 1914, and I do not want it to die on my watch. So we're trying to create a couple of fundraisers that make sure,
And what's
past this
so yeah, so
and beyond.
Nita would be herself as a potential donor or somebody else?
Anita.